Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into a story that sounds almost unbelievable at first hearing. A tiny silver-colored coin that most people barely notice in their pockets, yet whispered about in collector circles as being worth an astonishing $443 million. And yes, we're talking about the 2001 Roosevelt dime from the United States. A coin with a face value of just 10 cents that has sparked rumors, debates, and endless fascination because of the extraordinary combination of mint errors, rare production anomalies, and once-in-a-lifetime possibilities that could theoretically transform an ordinary circulation piece into one of the most valuable coins ever discussed. So before we go any further, let's set the stage by remembering that the standard 2001 dime featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt was struck for everyday commerce by the United States Mint at facilities like Philadelphia and Denver, with millions upon millions produced for circulation, making the vast majority of them worth exactly 10 cents, yet within the world of numismatics it only takes one dramatic deviation from normal production standards to turn metal into legend. And that is where the intrigue begins, because stories began circulating about a so-called 2001 dime, a term many believe emerged from a misreading or misprint referencing the Denver Mint mark, D, that under certain striking errors appeared distorted, filled, doubled, or nearly erased, giving it an unusual look that fueled speculation about a mysterious mint mark error. And when collectors hear the words mint error, their attention sharpens immediately, since documented mint mistakes like doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and dramatic die cracks have historically commanded staggering sums at auction, though never remotely close to hundreds of millions. But imagination can be powerful, especially when layered with misunderstanding, hope, and the viral amplification of online storytelling. So let's explore the possibilities that would have to align for a 2001 dime to even enter the realm of such an astronomical valuation. Beginning with the minting process itself at the United States Mint, where blank metal discs known as planchets are fed into presses that strike designs using hardened steel dies engraved with Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse and the torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. And in 2001 these dimes were composed of a clad sandwich of copper and nickel rather than silver, meaning their intrinsic metal value is minimal. Yet if by some extraordinary accident a dime had been struck on a wrong planchet, such as a silver-proof planchet intended for a special collector set, or even more fantastically on a foreign coin blank or experimental metal composition, that would instantly create rarity. Now imagine compounding that with a dramatic double die obverse where Roosevelt's profile appears visibly doubled to the naked eye due to a misalignment in die creation, a phenomenon known and documented in other coins like the famous 1955 double die cent, and then add a broad strike error where the collar failed to hold the planchet in place, resulting in a larger than normal diameter with distorted rims, and perhaps even a retained cut where a chunk of the die broke away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's surface. Stacking multiple errors onto a single specimen, each one independently collectible, together forming a perfect storm of mint chaos, the probability would be microscopic yet not entirely outside the realm of physics. And rarity in coin collecting is the first ingredient of extreme value, the second being demand, and demand often hinges on narrative, because collectors are not just buying metal but buying stories, provenance, and the thrill of owning something singular in human history. So imagine if a 2001 dime surfaced exhibiting an unprecedented combination of wrong metal composition verified by metallurgical analysis, an inverted or missing mint mark that appeared as a ghostly done impression due to die fill or over-polishing, and documentation proving it escaped the mint despite quality controls. Suddenly you have mystery layered onto rarity, and mystery attracts headlines, headlines attract bidders, bidders inflate prices. And while $443 million would still exceed any realistic auction precedent in numismatics, where even the legendary 1933 Double Eagle gold coin achieved just over $18 million, the psychology of speculative storytelling often ignores historical caps and leaps into fantasy valuations, especially in online spaces where a misinterpreted appraisal or exaggerated blog post can spiral into viral legend. Yet let's continue examining the mechanics, because the Denver Mint mark, D, on a 2001 dime is tiny and located near the date, and if grease filled the die cavity during striking, the mint mark might appear faint or missing, leading some to believe they possess a no-mint mark rarity. And historically, certain no-mint mark coins from specific years have indeed become highly collectible due to transitional errors. But in 2001, Philadelphia dimes were intentionally struck without mint marks, so confusion between Philadelphia issues and error coins could easily arise, adding fuel to speculative value claims. Now imagine further that a proof die intended for specially prepared mirror finish coins was accidentally used on a circulation strike planchet, creating cameo contrast on a standard dime. Such hybrid errors are rare and prized, and if authenticated by a major grading service with a top population of 1, meaning no other example known, collectors seeking the ultimate trophy piece might engage in aggressive bidding. But even so, the leap from thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to hundreds of millions requires either unprecedented historical significance or extreme myth-making. So where does the 443 million figure originate in such tales? Often numbers like this emerge from cumulative hypothetical valuations, stacking the worth of each individual error as if they multiply exponentially rather than additively, or from misread insurance estimates where coverage for a unique artifact includes replacement speculation far above market comparables. And in some online narratives, the figure is presented as a potential value if the coin were tied to a dramatic historical backstory, such as being discovered in a time capsule, linked to a notable political event, or associated with a famous individual who unknowingly spent it. Because provenance can dramatically influence collectible prices, imagine discovering that this dime had been carried by a prominent public figure during a pivotal moment in early 2000s American history. Authenticated through documented chain of custody, suddenly the coin transcends numismatics and enters cultural memorabilia territory, broadening the bidder pool to museums and private collectors of Americana. Yet again, the gap to hundreds of millions remains vast, so perhaps the legend grows from the concept of uniqueness itself, the idea that if truly only one example exists worldwide combining multiple catastrophic mint errors never before recorded in modern clad coinage, then in theory its value is limited only by what the wealthiest collector is willing to pay, and in an era where single artworks have sold for over $400 million, some enthusiasts extrapolate that a coin of absolute singularity could command similar sums. Though historically coins have not reached those heights, still the romance of possibility captivates audiences, especially when framed as a treasure hiding in plain sight, a dime that could be sitting unnoticed in a jar, and that hope fuels endless searching, coin roll hunting, magnified inspections under desk lamps, and the collective imagination of hobbyists worldwide. And we cannot ignore the role of grading, because condition is paramount. A coin with errors but heavily worn might lose substantial premium, whereas the same coin preserved in mint state 70 condition, flawless under magnification, could multiply its desirability. And if such a hypothetical 2001 error dime were discovered pristine, immediately encapsulated by a top-tier grading service, given a pedigree name referencing its discoverer, and introduced at a major auction with global publicity, competitive psychology among billionaires could in theory drive bidding into uncharted territory, especially if marketed not merely as a coin but as the rarest modern U.S. mint error ever confirmed. Yet responsible analysis reminds us that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And as of verified public records, there is no documented 2001 dime that has sold anywhere near even a fraction of $443 million, meaning the story functions more as an exploration of what makes coins valuable rather than a confirmed market reality. And that exploration itself is fascinating because it reveals how value is constructed at the intersection of rarity, condition, authentication, narrative, timing, and human desire. So let's delve deeper into specific error types that could